Thank you for joining Effortless Attraction. My name is Evelyn McAleer. I'm the author of A Life You Want, Effortless, and The Woman's Journey. I'm a life coach, business mentor, and inspirational speaker. And my greatest value is making a difference in people's lives. So I hope through these podcasts, I can make a difference to your life.
Effortless Attraction podcast is sponsored by Maria Young Wellbeing, wellness mentor and creator of Infusion, a platform designed to inspire health, wealth, abundance, and a life lived with purpose. Maria conducts events, trainings, and the blending of practical tools for lasting change. Her mission is simple: to help you live well and rise strong. You can explore more at www.mariayoungwellbeing.co.uk or infusion.mn.co.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on another Effortless Attraction podcast. Today, I am joined by Patricia Breslin, who is a transformational and wellness coach. She's a speaker and an author of an upcoming memoir that shares her extraordinary journey of resilience and healing. As single mother of 6, Patricia has lived through childhood trauma, bulimia, alcohol addiction, and domestic violence. So after more than 40 years as a hairdresser, she is trained as a counsellor, an NLP practitioner, a hypnotherapist, which ultimately inspired her to create her Who Am I program. So through our coaching, workshop and speaking events, Patricia helps others to recognise unhelpful patterns, to break free from toxic cycles and discover their true selves. Her memoir, currently in progress, promises to be a raw and inspiring account of transformation, written not only to share her story, but to empower readers to embrace freedom in their own lives. Patricia, you are most welcome today.
Evelyn, thank you so much for having me, and I'm really appreciative and so grateful.
I underlined something here in your bio that you help others recognize unhelpful patterns, break free from toxic cycles, and discover their true self. Here's the question, Patricia. I'm a huge advocate and a massive believer of law of attraction, of manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
When people see, say for the likes of your past, or when you have come through all this training, NLP, hypnotherapist, do you come to an understanding of that you remove yourself from being the victim and you see the patterns or the thought patterns that created the cycles in your life?
Truly, you don't see it at the time. To say it's only because now that I think when I look back, it was, I've been on a journey. My past has defined the person I am today. But it was the real core was when I did that hypnotherapy course, and Marissa Peer was doing hypnotherapy on another woman. She had childhood trauma, and when that girl led to that her childhood trauma was impacting her life, I just says, oh my God, that's me. And since that day, I can't even rectify, the feeling of that. It totally set me free, because it always that feeling, even though the alcohol was removed, there was still something not sitting right with me. And that really totally gave me total freedom. And that's what drew me then on to where I'm at today. And recognizing and understanding that that trauma had the impact of my whole life, because I didn't know why I was going into toxic relationships all the time, the same patterns. I didn't know why I was addicted to alcohol. And knowing that from childhood, that set me totally free. And that gave me then the courage then to find out who Tricia really is and go down that journey of personal development and finding out who I truly am today.
I recently done a podcast with a man who is a hypnotherapist too, and he says it's never the addiction. We need to go back to the root cause. And if you mentioned their childhood trauma, and also listening to you speaking, Patricia, for anyone that may be listening here, I feel hope. That someone's listening, that we're in a position that once you were in, and there's a hell of a lot of work has to go into it, but there's hope that things can change. Would you like to take us back?
Yeah, definitely. As I say, I grew up in a very loving, nurturing home with another 8 siblings, and my mother and father never drank. So in that sense, then you think I would be a happy child. But unfortunately, life had other plans for me. I was sexually abused as a 10-year-old child. And I didn't realize that had the impact until I was 35. And after my first marriage broke down, I went to counselling. And it was her then recognized. No, she says, did your father hurt you at any stage? And I say, no, because I had a great relationship with my father. And that's when I came out at 35 that this man had taken my innocence away. And unfortunately, I named him. And he obviously was in jail and had died since then as well. So that even though I still continued that cycle of domestic violence and doing other domestic violence marriage, it didn't set me free. I wasn't there at the right understanding at that stage too, that no, it had to impact my whole life, but I was able to name it there and then. And I remember telling my sister then I was starting to open up about, because I had hidden it for years and I had no voice for over 40 years. And I confided in one of my sisters that I was very close to at the time. And then at one stage then we were in the room with my mum and my sister says, tell mummy. And I told my mother and she just said, I always knew that there was something wrong with you. Let's have a wee cup of tea. And at that time I was shocked, but at the end of the day, she didn't know how to adapt to anything because she had a loving marriage in my eyes. And she didn't know how to have that conversation with me. She didn't understand. But even she knew that there was something wrong with me. She knew there was something wrong with me from long ago because when I did start alcohol at 16, like my mother and father had taken me to a counsellor at 17. So they always knew that there was something there.
You said something at the beginning of that when you were answering the question. Unfortunately, I named him. Is that a regret?
No, because when you're in that counselling environment, you know once you name that person that if they were living, they would go to jail or something like that there. And I didn't. I think that was like a wee panic mode for me. But I did name him, and I was more a bit of relief when I heard that he had died and was in jail for that, and I wasn't just the only one that he had done it to. So that gave me more freedom then to not feel as guilty by naming him. I felt freer after that.
So that led on to your addiction, or what became an addiction, obviously, of alcohol, to suppress
Yeah,
unknowingly to a teenager. Not alone are you going through all these hormones yourself,
yeah.
but
Well,
suppressing something.
well, I found alcohol at the age of 16 because I was, very quiet. And as I say, I was withdrawn and hidden. I feared everybody in the whole world after that trauma and didn't realize that till later on in years. But lifting that bottle, it gave me confidence. It gave me a voice, but it was only temporary because once the alcohol then diminished and you come back to yourself, I withdrew, like going into that wee turtle and that shell again. And that was the pattern of my life up until very late adult years. But at that time too, I still didn't know what I know today of why I took that alcohol. Um,
And so did you have the alcohol addiction then when the bulimia set in, or was that at a later stage in life?
well, the bulimia, I always say the childhood trauma was first, and then the bulimia set in at secondary school. I always had a wee tiny waist, and but it was just that friends then called a bit of bullying and was mocked about how I looked because they'd asked me to stand sideways and my bum stuck out and they started laughing at me. And then I had some of my brother's friends would have made a mockery of me, how my body shape was. And at that stage, I didn't realize there was anything wrong with me. But that led me to bulimia, thinking that, right, there's something wrong with me. So I'll use food and just, I was very good at it because when I went in the bathroom at home, I would turn on the water tap so nobody could hear me throwing up. So that even led up to a very, very long time still throwing up. I still would say I have issues around food. No, I enjoy food today, but at the same time, that bulimia has led me, and I thank the people that bullied me because I do look after myself and I do keep myself well. So I always say if something bad happens, there's something really positive comes out of it as well.
Yeah, because I'm sitting here and I know the viewers can't see, but a very attractive, confident looking woman. I mean, if you walk down the street, today, you would stand out because I can see you've been a hairdresser for
Yeah,
many years. I mean, and your hair is very distinctive. You just exude confidence, but then no one knows what has taken place in anyone's life. Has it give you a different perspective? You know, perhaps where we've all judged on people or look at him or look at her, and you think, you just don't know in anyone's life.
definitely. Because even when I'm, working alongside women and, delivering my program or even doing talks, I always say, who have we the right to judge anybody? Because of my experience, nobody knew what was behind that mask. Nobody knows what's, they look at a person we don't know. So who have we the right to judge anybody? Because somebody could be just in pain. Because a lot of people did say to me, because I do keep myself well, and after my first marriage broke down, I remember a woman saying to me, "You would never know that anything was going on with you." And but that's what I'm saying. I was looking good on the outside, but I was crippled inside,
Yeah.
totally.
What age did you first get married at?
I got married at 21, and I had 5 children. 21, I had 5 children did when I was 27.
Wow.
And then I had the sixth child then in the second marriage. And yeah, it was young, but at the same time too, I do believe that hurt people. Looking back now, I can turn and say that I was attracted to another hurt person, and then I took on his hurts and allowed his hurts to project onto me, which then shredded me to nothing. They say like stripping onions away from you, and I have no hatred or resentment towards anybody that hurt me in life, because I've hurt so many people myself, especially with my alcohol addiction with my children, and I have an understanding of those people are hurt themselves, but I doesn't dismiss their actions towards me, their abuse towards me, but I have a sense of empathy and compassion for them.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, they're only doing what they know. And I did listen to that podcast of your Carol hypnotherapist, and he didn't know any better, because we had counselling at the very end, and that was the last straw of my marriage, because I went everywhere to save my marriage. And the counsellor even said to me after 8 weeks, she says he still doesn't know that he's doing anything wrong, and he doesn't too. So
Mhm.
that's an understanding, that people would turn and say you think they know that they don't.
Yeah.
And then the second husband, they didn't have the emotional availability to give to me what I needed, because they didn't have it to give. And that's what I learned through it all as well.
Did you feel in your life the males, apart from your father,
Hmm.
um, did he give you a false perspective that all men are like this?
No, well, funny enough, even after, because I've been in refuge twice, women's aid refuge twice, I still didn't hate men. I know a lot of women do, but even going back, to my home life, my father adored my mother. And in the book I write, I crave for that love my father gave to my mother. And that's what I craved for all my life. And what cost that I wanted, crave for that love, that I just went for it. I just
Mm.
wanted somebody to love me.
And did you conclude then? Hold on a minute. The person that I'm hurting the most is myself.
Yeah,
At later years, you think I absolutely see 100% where it has stemmed from and where it has come from. And as we talk about the universal laws or energy or hypnotherapy, if we cannot show it to ourselves and we have this expectation on the outside to bring it to me, you'll get a whole lot of other stuff as well as the
yeah,
love. You'll get the stuff that you don't want.
yeah.
How do you love yourself now, Patricia?
Well, that's what brought me to where I'm at today. Is say I've done the counselling, the NLP, and hypnotherapy. It was the hypnotherapy gave me that set me free to where I'm at. I don't practice hypnotherapy, but it's got to me where I feel I want to be, to allow myself to help other people to transform their lives and get to their true authentic selves. So for me, it was, having that understanding of me, and I had to get to know who Trisha was. And I always say too, she's already there, but
And who is she?
she's a very powerful lady. She knows her own truth and she knows her own worth today. Yes, I still have my moments, and I feel this journey evolution. I will never stop learning because I'm so inspired by humanness of how we react in life and how we perceive ourselves in life, or perception in life. And I want now to give people what I have. I know to not people would I have a girl that would say to me, I want to be like you. No, you don't want to be like me. You want to find yourself to become that more important person for yourself, to find out the real you underneath all those troubles and trials and tribulations that's hidden within.
Do you find, does it feel heavy, when you're dealing with clients that do carry a lot of trauma because you've had to come through it yourself, the addictions, the trauma, releasing, letting go, acceptance, forgiveness, and now you're assisting other people that have come through perhaps similar circumstances. Is that work heavy?
When I work with women, because I used to work for the Samaritans years ago as well, and I learned not to take it home, and I don't take my work home with me. I have a compassion. I really enjoy it, believe it or not. And then when I do see the the change that they're making on a weekly basis, and yes, there's a lot of hurt and pain there, but when they're in that hurt and pain, because some of the women would come and say to me halfway through the program, I'm having these aches and pains in my body and everything, and I'm saying that's great, and they're looking at me to say what the hell, but that's your body changing because your whole mindset's changing. And I always say your body keeps the score because our body tells us exactly what's going on with us. And then when they go through that process and to come out the other side, it's empowering for me, but it's empowering for them to see the work that they're doing and them really seeing that there's a genius or a greatness within themselves as that person. And to me, it's so wow.
Yeah. I bet you that fills you more, that feeling more than alcohol.
Oh, without a doubt. Alcohol is no, as it was just the soother and numb the pain from that little child and that little girl. Um, and people would say to me, do I ever think and drink? I have nothing to drink on anymore. So I drank my emotions. I drank to soothe and numb that pain. But because I've done the work myself, I don't even think of alcohol. It doesn't come into my system. I would just say to people, I just don't drink. I don't have to say, oh, I had that addiction. I don't have to explain myself anymore. I just don't drink.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when you come to a place of peace or contentment where once, it'd be, oh, are we vodka tonight or the weekend or I can't wait to get out. And then it comes a stage really to deal with these hangovers and the coming off the alcohol or any drug or any addiction, the come down, then that molehill becomes the mountain. And
Yeah,
it's to live in that state is a horrible place, a
yeah.
horrible place.
It's that time too when that last time when I already knew deep down that I didn't want to be this person, but alcohol had taken over me. I was the saying I was powerless over it. But to look at myself in the mirror, and I was in a real drunken state, to look at myself, I don't even know who she is.
Mm.
To that fact of really, I was suicidal and everything else as well. And I reached out and asked for help. And I had a couple of relapses before until I'm really coming to meet the year sobriety now. But I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
Those relapses I still never gave up. Thank God that was then, looking back now, the resilience in me, the person within me was wanting to live life in reality without having any kind of substance.
Yeah. As I say, grant me the courage to change the things that I can. And the only thing that you could change was yourself
Yeah,
and the courage to ask for help.
yeah. And
And
a lot of people think asking for help's a weakness. It's a strength because there's so many people out there would love to help, and it's that shame and guilt and embarrassment of being the person, you really, because I really hated myself. I hated myself totally. And how could then I reach out to someone that someone's going to really like me and understand me? But it's getting past that and asking for that help. And asking for the help when people have been through that experience themselves. That's the only way that you're going to get the real help and understanding that somebody else already has been through that experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing the mind and
Mm-hmm.
everything from our past that has held on to it. And even though we think we've forgot about it or we're over it, as you say, the body will keep score. It's that then recognition that I want to change. I am ready to change. Or you get the other choice is you can completely, and it's your choice to remain a victim all of your life of what people have done to you, what they have said to you. But that's the big part.
Well, we
That's
all,
the big
yeah,
part is the change.
yeah, we all have a choice, but it's the willingness. So, for me, it had to take me. I was on my knees. They really right, and sometimes when you do hear a lot of people in these situations and do come out the other side, they're on their knees.
Mm.
And even when I went to AA as well, I heard stories and I thought, I'm not that bad. So it's about not comparing. And a lot of people did say to me, Tricia, you're not that bad. Why was I not that bad? Because I wasn't on the streets. I wasn't in jail. I had accept if I wanted to lift that drink in the morning and my children were leaving me one by one, I had a problem.
Yeah.
And I accepted that myself. So you have to accept it yourself and say, right, I have a problem. I need help.
Yeah. 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 It's interfering. Yeah. I've had so many stories or with people that once did drink and it was badly affecting the home place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a wonderful thing now to see the shift or the change. I suppose the partners that are affected or family members that are affected at that time, then they have to come to some sort of forgiveness because I've also saw that in a relationship where someone has recognized and stopped the drink, but perhaps the partner still hasn't, come to that. But I suppose in AA or whatever modality that you
Yeah.
use to come from that, that's probably part of the lesson too, that your spouses or your children or that they have to come to terms with it in their own time.
Yeah, of course. And, there is a time too, and for me on my journey, and when I've got stronger and got to know me, because I always say nobody's going to take me away from me because I have worked so hard to get to me. And I really can turn and say, I love me today. Um, and I will not allow anybody to take me away from me. And should it be siblings, um, relatives, no, that's a no for me.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to walk through that door on your own and leave people behind, but then let them come on their journey behind you then afterwards when they're ready. And that's a big lesson. And it's a hard lesson, but at the same time, nobody's taking me away from me because I just love me so much and I deserve to be here.
Well, that's wonderful. And I'm delighted you're here.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about the Who Am I program.
Well, the Who Am I program is based around my life experiences plus the hypnotherapy and the counseling, the tools and skills. And the foundation for me is understanding your story. We have to get to that core, the root. And not a lot of people we like putting the wee plasters on and then not. But if you want to really hone in on yourself and really transition and to get away from those hurts and pains that you're living on a daily or weekly, whatever time and basis in your life, um, the root cause, see, once you understand your story, and even family dynamics is a powerful part of the Who Am I as well, because when people would say, everyone in the family is so different. You say to yourself, why are we so different when we came from the same mother and father? But on the process of study, that every time a child was born, your mother and father were in different places. They were different, human beings. They might have been looking after 2 or 3 children before. There was 5 above me before I came along. So of course they were going to be different. So that's why we have different dynamics and personalities. And I think that's a great part of the program too, the family dynamics and understanding where you come from, your perceptions of self. I always say too, my mother used to call me stupid, and I always had that perception for years that I was stupid, but she probably called the other 8 stupid as well, but that was my perception. So it's the learning too of what perception when you were growing up, what way do you feel that you've been conditioned, what limited beliefs have been placed upon you, and you can turn it, switch it all around to empower yourself and really hone in on that.
Is this on a one-to-one online or in person?
I've just started one-to-one online. It's starting on the 23rd of September online. I've done one-to-one on persons, and I've done one group. And if I did a group, it'd be 4 people at the minimum, because it is really personal, and I wouldn't take on any more than that on a group.
Well, I'll be putting all of your details in the description below if anyone feels like they want to reach out to you. Now, fast forward, you're in the process of writing your memoir.
Yeah. I said 30 years ago, because I remember being in a woman's self-esteem class after my first marriage broke down, and I said I wanted to write a book. 30 years later, I'm writing the book, but now looking, the book is going to be perfect for where I'm at today. And as I say, it's not out, the memoir's not about out to condemn anyone whatsoever. It's, I feel it's got a calling for me, talk about the universe, and I just feel I have this calling to write my book, because the book not only is healing for me, it's actually to, when people write the book, that they can say, I can resonate with that. They can see themselves and the journey, and can know that there is transformation, and they can turn their whole lives around.
When do you anticipate that the book will be complete?
Well, I'm hoping that it'll probably be launched next year. I'm sort of over the halfway mark now on the part of it.
Well, that's 2026 because I never
yeah,
put the dates on me. See, whatever
it,
year you're listening to, if it's 2027, the book came out last year.
no, 2026, it will definitely be out. But I'm getting along nicely with it. It has been challenging as well, because there's times then it's been really personal and at home for me, so I've had to put it down, maybe stay away from 2 days to hone in, because when I'm feeling that a lot of emotion, I have to take that time out for myself to reflect again and then start again. So,
Yeah.
but
Well,
it's
that's
been
a
very,
big, brave, and bold thing to do because it's personal. Different if you're writing about fictional or different scenarios. But when you're speaking about this is my life, this is my past, this is what took place. But the intention behind it all is to help others. But along this process, you're healing yourself even more.
yeah,
You're getting to know who am I
yeah,
even more.
yeah. And even writing the book, even I've learned so much, even growing up in my family. Like my mom and father took a risk to take 7 of us to Australia, and it's about that risk taking. It's me. I have got that from them, taking risks, and it's really opened up my eyes of what I've really learned growing up. So it has been very empowering for me as well, and very understanding. Then even the book alone, when people's reading it, you can see the flow of why you went into toxic relationships, why my life happened the way it happened. I think that's the main theme I want people to understand. It wasn't just one person did this to me. It
Mm.
was the flow and the reasoning of everything behind it.
Well, fast forward, just you think this was an interview question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? But if we were putting it out, are you a day at a time? And that's AA's motto, one day at a time. But you know the way we think, well, at least I'll have a vision, I'll have a goal, I'll put it out there, sure.
No, I'm not a day at a time person now anyway. I do have a big vision. I think, and not I think, I would like the book to be the making of me. And every chapter of the book, I have a song, because I really connect with songs, and I can see this book becoming a musical, and I will be on that stage in that musical, not as a singer, but as one of the dancers, because I love dancing as well. So
Good man.
the little child in me wants to come out to play. So why not let her play in my journey?
What kind of dancing do you like? Because I done a bit myself.
I love because years ago when I was 16, I was asked to do a disco dancing competition. Of course, then I went to the boyfriend instead, which we do at that age, and that I love dancing, and and that's why I feel now the child in me is coming out to play, and what better way to put her on that stage and let her play?
Freestyle.
Yeah, freestyle. That's the word. Totally, Evelyn. Yeah, definitely.
You don't require a partner for it.
Well, we'll not say no either.
Wonderful. Patricia, it's been lovely chatting with you. And it was nice to have that without going in too deep into the
Definitely. Yeah.
abuse, when you were younger.
Yeah.
Um, and I know that you have healed from it, but I don't like trudging up things.
Yeah.
Maybe it's me. I just find them a wee bit difficult,
Of course.
and
Yeah.
especially, I have spoken to so many people, and this has happened to quite a lot of young girls,
Yeah.
and where neighbors abuse them in some way, and the child doesn't know that but you're the neighbor, you're my friend's
Yeah.
daddy, and you don't speak out and you don't say,
Yeah.
and then your parents don't know how to handle it.
Yeah, exactly. And just like that, although they didn't know, my parents didn't know what happened to me, but they knew there was something going on with me. And then that voice stayed silent for 40 years.
Yeah,
Now, when I have my voice, I'm never going to shut up now.
there you go. Great. Well, I look forward to seeing more of you. And anyway, people can
Thank you so much.
check you out on social media. Tell us a few of your platforms there,
Yeah, I'm
Patricia.
on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. So you can get me on all those platforms.
Under Patricia Breslin.
Yeah, well, Instagram's on Trish M. Breslin, but the other two's on Patricia Breslin.
Great. Well, as I say, I'll put the details below. And I know your website's work in progress at the
Yeah,
moment.
well, the website's up. There's still a few tweaks to be made, but it's practically there's a good information there anyway. You can still
Great.
go into it. Yeah.
Great. Well, Patricia, thank you so much for your time, listeners. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that you take time out of your day. If you're listening on, if you're listening, jeez, I forget my platforms now. If you're listening on Spotify or YouTube, I'm always very interested to hear a wee bit of feedback. So there is a comment section below. I really do appreciate it. Patricia, thank you so much.
And Emily, thank you so much for having me too.